hello. Welcome to Prosperity Playbook Podcast. And today, guys, we have Miss Tiffany Davis. She is an amazing spirit. I'm so grateful that she actually came to kind of sit on the couch and talk to us about all things financial literacy and community and economic empowerment. Now, we have the actual affiliation with Audible. So we are contributing this particular episode to Mr. Napoleon Hill, who wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. We actually wanted to name this episode, Tiffany's episode, Think and Grow Rich. So let's talk about this. Healthybrain.org states that the average person has about 70 thoughts per day. Your Time to Grow reports 90% of those thoughts are repetitive. The thoughts we have are a mixture of positive, negative, fearful, guilty, happy, angry, kind. You get the picture, right? 15 years ago during the holiday, I was visiting immediate family and friends. My first cousin, who is older by like 2 or 3 years, he has always been like an older brother to me. We grew up together and have always had like a very strong bond, even since childhood. When I saw him that holiday season, I didn't know that he would change my life by giving me something to connect my ambitions and determination to reality. Not only did he help me see much more vividly, he connected my soul, spirit, and body. And now every part of my being is moving in one direction. Everything is now in sync because of this gift that he gave me. I am on the same line, in the same paragraph, on the same page, in the same chapter of my story. What is so unique about how it all came is so interesting. About 6 months ago, we discussed the possibility of him helping and managing my projects. However, because life be lifing, he was unable to really help me. And it was okay because he always gives me like that big cousin wisdom that you give to your little cousins when it comes to managing life and everything else. He talked about a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and told me that I should read it because it was very insightful. Well, I heard him, but I didn't apply it. Life goes on. I'm living life. In business, I wasn't seeing the expected results of my labor. So introspection shouted clear from my soul, you need wisdom and more knowledge. Through a church play, I met Daaya. I would always see her reading, and because we both share that passion, we connected. She again reiterated this book and why I should read it. Finally, I purchased the book and started reading it. From the day I picked up the book, my life and circumstances have changed. I received the understanding that my thoughts were vital and essential to achieving the success I was trying to achieve. Daily, I started renewing my mind, but I was still having a hard time in some areas. We all have weaknesses. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Well, in order to experience abundance and prosperity in every aspect of your life, you must understand abundance and prosperity in every aspect of your life. Well, the book was written during and after the Great Depression. Think and Grow Rich was actually written after the Great Depression. How ironic for me to receive it during the 2008 recession. Let's take it a little step further. The 2009 holiday season comes, and Kendrick and I start to have a conversation that led from humor to theory to opinions to logic to philosophy. He kept saying, you got to read The Secret. Once you read this book, it'll definitely connect the dots to completion. He told me that he had an audio version, and because it was downloaded to his iPod, I could have his copy. So I got another gift. January 1st, 2010, that was almost 15 years ago, arrived. And while kicking it with him and his wife at the time, he ensured that I started listening to this new gift because I live my life with intention. I was thinking, how ironic is it for me to receive this gift on the first day of the new decade? He placed it in my hands, and the rest is history. To be continued. I wrote this introduction 15 years ago. And here we are, fast forward March the 20th, 2024, and we're still talking about something that has allowed me to use my thoughts and my mind and my ambition to be where I am. What are your thoughts about Think and Grow Rich?
I love that. I definitely believe that applying principles to your life can literally change your life. That's how I live. That's how I've grown in business. That's how I grow in my relationships. Um, and obviously I'm a Christian, but I do believe that no matter what your belief system is, if you apply the a principle and work it, it will definitely reap a harvest in your life. So
I
I
love
love that you took that and you applied it to your life. I think that's
Thank you.
beautiful
Thank
because
you.
you see something so different in yourself. You light up
Yes.
talking about it, which is so cool.
Super inspired by things that allow me to and grow. And I think that's what this podcast is all about. It's about evolution. It's about, not being the same place you were in 2022. So to me, that's very important. So
Yeah.
here's our icebreaker, Tiffany. Don't let the opinion of the average man sway you. Dream and he thinks you're crazy. Succeed and he thinks you're lucky. Acquire wealth and he thinks you're greedy. Pay no attention. He simply doesn't understand. And that's a quote by Robert Allen. Tell me how you interpret that statement and how the audience should apply it to themselves.
I love that because first and foremost, you have to believe in yourself. And I know that sounds cliche, but literally, God gave you a vision, God gave you a dream, God gave you the drive, God gave you the wisdom, and to the outside world, it's always going to look crazy.
Yeah,
It's always crazy till you make it happen, right? It's always
exactly.
crazy.
Yes.
And I mean, I feel like I've been the underdog all my life, like I'm like the only girl in my family, the first of many things in my family. But had I not had a belief system, had I not believed that I could achieve way further things that my bloodline has,
Hmm.
um, I would still be, doing the same things on the same level as my family. Not to be negative. It's just,
Right.
you have to literally have that drive. And that only comes from God. That only comes from like your true belief system and how you live your life. Knowing exactly what you want to become.
Yeah.
As an adult woman, I dreamed all my life. That's all I
Yes.
had when I was in grade school and high school. All we had back then were our dreams.
Imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people will go and do great things, and some people will only continue to have those dreams and
Yeah.
wonder what if. So, you got to take those visions and those dreams out of your head and apply it. And I don't know. That's just I've just always lived my life like I'm just gonna make it happen, And
Yes.
it's like if you don't have that drive, literally, you're stuck, and it's literally just a principle. It's
Yeah.
literally a belief system. That's really the difference between someone successful and someone who gave up, at an early age. What's your belief system? What are you telling yourself every day? Are you literally listening to your haters? Are you listening to your family?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the people closest to you
Oh my gosh.
that can derail your dreams and goals. It could be that one seed of negativity that could
Yes.
make you feel like, dang, what was I thinking? That's actually not attainable. That's actually not possible for me. And a lot of people have stopped right there where someone told them they couldn't do something and that was the last time they tried.
They believe them.
Yeah.
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 Tell us about your journey. You say you feel like you was the underdog, and tell us about Nutrithick and how you actually run a multi-million-dollar business.
Oh my goodness. So I started Nutrithick literally in a one bedroom luxury apartment.
Was it a loft or
No,
no?
it's just we
It
have
was
these things in Atlanta called luxury apartments, but it's a
okay.
one bedroom. Like how luxury is that?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I had my son was 2 years old, right? I was struggling. I was broke. I had, lost my job, and which was a blessing because it really forced me into entrepreneurship. But I was skinny. I was underweight. I was postpartum depressed. Like I went through
Yeah.
all of those things, all the things I went through and all I literally had was my faith,
Yes.
and that's a seed that I don't take for granted, and
Mhm.
that was instilled in me when I was a very young girl.
Yeah.
But I knew that there was something that was missing in the marketplace. Like I could
Mhm.
not gain weight for anything because I was depressed. I was
Yeah.
going through all these hormonal changes. Women don't talk about this either. Like when you have a baby, like everything changes.
Yes, it does. It
Everything
does.
changed, and you're like, "What is happening to me?"
To
You
the
don't
body.
know. Do I need drugs? What's going on?
Yes.
And so I went through that period of time where I was so skinny and so depressed and didn't have money. And it was like, what else can I go through, Lord? Uh,
Oh my gosh.
yes. I know you can relate,
I can
right? Mothers can relate.
relate.
And
Yes.
so I said, I can't find any. I went to the gym. I was doing everything. And I was like, this isn't working. I don't have the time. Right. So I was like, let me find something for me. And I couldn't find anything for me that would help me gain weight. So I started to, kind of try out different herbs and study them.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, I found some herbs and some supplements that actually help me to not only balance my hormones, but to really get my appetite back and gain weight.
Yeah.
And I just scribbled it down. I scribbled it down on a paper, a name, like Nutrithick. I was Nutri everything. I was just writing my ideas out. And I was like, oh, Nutrithick, that sticks. And I'm like, but I don't have the money for this. And I guarantee, I'll tell you this. I didn't have the money, but I had faith. And I'm a very hard worker, super diligent. I had clients that I had worked with and helped them make a lot of money in business.
Mhm.
And so something just told me to call someone that I had worked with before. I said, hey, I have this business idea. You know, I don't know, what I'm doing, but I know that this business is going to make X amount of dollars per month. And this guy was like, tell me more about it. And I told him more about it. And he was like, can you write me a business proposal? And I did. And literally, I prayed and prayed and prayed over this conversation, like talking in tongue. I was praying, child. Okay, because I'm like, I got to change my life.
Yes.
This might be the way.
Yeah.
And I sent him over my business proposal, and he hit me back like, "Hey, I might have some money for you."
Oh my God.
Mind you, I had $0. Okay, I had $0, but I had faith and I had a belief system that worked for me.
You also didn't have a car. I
I
remember
did
I
not
saw
have
one of
a
your
car.
videos. You was like, I didn't even have
I didn't have
a
a car. I
car.
did not have a car. I was literally just like broke, busted, and
Oh
disgusted.
my
Okay. I was
gosh.
walking to the grocery store. That's why I say, people, you don't know where people
You
start.
don't know people's
Yeah,
story.
seriously. And
Yes.
I didn't think that would be my life. I was so like uppity, like, ain't no way I'm about to walk to this grocery store, this
Yeah.
baby. But that was my story for a period of time. And so I didn't
Yeah.
have anything when that happened. And
Yeah.
this man, I've never met him before in my life, like never face to face, never face to face. We've talked on the phone, done business. He's
Yes.
never seen me in the flesh, still to this day. And this was probably 8 years ago.
Oh
And
my
he literally
goodness.
funded everything that I needed for my business for at least the first 6 to 8 months. And it was upwards of like $30,000, $40,000.
Oh my
Still
God.
never saw him to this day. That's just God.
Oh,
And
that
so,
gave me
yeah,
goosebumps.
and it literally happened for me. And that changed my life. Ever since then, that was in 2017. And I kid you not, I mean, I've made millions of dollars
Yes.
because of that seed. First of all, it started with faith because I had $0.
Yes.
Started with faith. It started with prayer and a
Yeah.
belief system and someone who took a chance on me.
Yes.
He didn't know me. He didn't have to do that. That was literally a miracle,
And you trusted yourself because you
Yeah.
called him.
Yes.
The synergy of
Right.
you trusting your intuition to
Yeah.
connect the dots for you is you did it too now. You
Yeah.
were a part of that.
Right. Yeah.
You co-created that opportunity for
Right.
yourself.
Yeah. And that takes confidence, though. That takes
Yeah.
confidence in God and that takes confidence in just knowing your abilities. Because I'm not going to say that I didn't have a skill set, right? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? We
Right.
do that too. We were like,
Yes.
I'm gonna start a business and I'm gonna do this and the other. You don't know marketing. You
Yes.
don't, you don't know how to connect the dots. You don't know
Yes.
how to do anything on the back end. You
Mhm.
have no experience. You have, no understanding of the area that you want to grow in or build in.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to ever give someone a dream that like, oh, you can do whatever you want to do. Just go ahead and start. Yeah, true. And you
Mhm.
can, but we
Mhm.
have to be realistic about what we expect to get out of something that we don't know anything about, you
That
know?
is very
Like you
true.
have to do the
I
work
love
still,
that.
right? Yeah.
Yes, that's
So
very true.
yeah,
That is so inspiring to me,
thank
Tiffany.
you.
Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
So, how did you get to a point where you knew entrepreneurship was something you wanted to do as a career? Like some people, like, do you ever feel like you're gonna ever sell your company? Like how the owner of Honey Pot, she got to a certain level and she didn't sell the company until she felt like the staff that she started with and the formula stayed.
Mhm.
If anybody was coming in trying to purchase her company and they wanted to change the formula, they wanted to change the people, she said no. She even
Mhm.
turned down $150 million because she
Mhm.
was standing on business.
And I love
So,
Bia.
yeah.
She's such an inspiration to me.
Yes.
I really love how she runs her business. And I mean, I think every Black woman in business needs to kind of, have someone that they look up to and model as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's emotional for me sometimes when I think about selling my business
Okay.
because, first of all, 100% equity. I don't have partners.
Okay.
So I'm sole owner. And again, it's sentimental because I grew this business from zero to,
Yes. You
and
turn nothing into something.
yeah. And so when I think about like selling my business, I'm like, I don't know if I want to ever,
Yeah.
but it's like I actually, yeah, I should, and I probably
Mhm.
will, and I'll grow
Mhm.
out of that, right?
Yeah.
But it's emotional for me. I do think about it and I consider it, and I hope to do that one day once I get the balls to do it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a conversation that I try to, you know, baby myself into.
Mhm. Mhm.
I think seeing my business grow over the years has been inspirational for me too. And my business actually really didn't start growing until, and I'll tell you a secret because I don't talk about this a whole lot, but my business started growing when I started to sow seeds into church. Literally, when I started to really take tithing seriously, I mean, I was in a space where God told me to sow a really big seed.
Yeah.
And I was like, ain't no way I'm doing I mean, ain't no way I'm doing this. And it was like, no, you have to do this. And I cried. I was shaking writing the check. Like
Are
I was
you
crying. I
serious?
paced back and forth. I mean, probably only two people in my whole life know this. I
Oh
paced
my
back and forth.
God.
I cried. I fasted. I prayed. And I wrote this big old check, to a ministry. And
Oh my gosh.
I just was like, you know what, God, if you're telling me to do it, there's no way I'm going to fail. I don't care if I
Right.
have to start from zero again. I'm going to be obedient. And from that day on, when I sold that check into that ministry, I literally made $3 million within a year time frame.
Oh my
And that's when I
God.
learned the power of sowing and reaping. It's so real, And so it goes back to the book you mentioned,
Think
Think
and
and Grow
Grow Rich,
Rich.
your episode.
Yes, it's like we have to get out of our head and start to put things into motion the way that God is telling us to do it because those principles really work.
They
They really
do.
do.
They do.
And I'm not wise enough in my own strength to be like, well, I don't know. It's like God knows a little more than me, right? So if
Yeah.
it's in his word, I'm just going to believe that that's true. It's like
Yes.
I just can't bring myself to a point where I have so much pride that I'm not going to believe the word of God. That's
Right.
just me though, and that's just how I
Yeah.
live. Now everyone
Right.
has their own principles and their
Of
own thing,
course.
right?
Yeah.
Which I totally respect. I just
Mhm.
always bring people to like my truth.
Yes.
This is
And
what
your
worked for me.
journey
My
and
journey,
your
yeah.
process.
Yes, because like I said, when I started, I didn't have anything. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew marketing and I did know, I did know a little bit about business and like,
Mhm.
helping people win.
Yeah.
That was my gift. And I
Yes.
had to stay true to my gift. Now, I didn't know
Absolutely.
that Nutrithick was going to be like this multi-million-dollar business. God did,
Yeah.
and the only reason why it became what it became is because I was obedient to my belief system
Yeah.
and the word of God.
I
Literally,
love
that's it. It's not my power. It's literally, we
Nice.
can think that we have all the power. We're going to read all the books. We're going to do all the
Mhm.
things,
Mhm.
but it's really beyond us. It's
It
like, what are
is.
we going to be obedient to? Like, what are we going to actually put in place? Like what principle are we going to work?
Yeah.
That's really it. That's what
That's
life is about.
amazing.
It's about principles.
Yeah.
Even as simple as treat others as you want them to treat you. Like the
Yes.
golden rule.
Of course.
It's real.
Yeah.
And if you
Mhm.
believe it, it'll work for you. If you work it,
Mhm.
it'll work for you. So,
So you knew at the time of you calling this investor for your business that you wanted to be in entrepreneurship, or you just was trying something?
oh my God. You know, I used to be a rebel. Believe it or not,
What?
like I did not like authority.
Okay.
I know, it's weird. I just never felt like I wanted to be a follower. I always wanted to be a leader.
Yes.
I always wanted to make sure that I was at top of my game, no matter
Yes.
where I went, no matter what job I had.
Mhm.
I wanted to be,
Above average.
yes. And I
Yeah.
almost said the boss, but I didn't, humble,
Almost said the boss.
humble. Break it down, Tiff. I just wanted to have that type of leadership skill all the time. I wanted people to know that I was a leader and
Yes.
I could push things to the max and I could actually get results.
Yeah.
So, knowing this about me, I just hated working, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I would do it,
Yes.
but, and especially if I wasn't a manager, I didn't want the job. I
Yeah.
struggled with this. I really did. I
Yes.
don't tell people this
Yes.
either. But I struggled with this. And so I kind of figured after a while, like, Tiffany, you hate working for people, like figure out how you can make your own money.
Yeah.
And eventually I slowly took those steps to become an entrepreneur. Like I started off as a consultant,
Yes.
right? So I did like social
Yes.
media marketing for brands and businesses in Atlanta. Like I worked for lawyers. I had dental, cosmetic dentists. I had all type of clients,
Yeah.
and that just took me a step further into just really starting my own business and having my own products and things like that.
That's
So, yeah.
amazing. Thank you for sharing that with me. It's like I'm talking to you, but it's like I'm literally, I feel like the audience. I'm learning so much as you're speaking. I hope this is resonating with everyone. I think it is. I think it is. So look, I want to talk a little about generational wealth.
Mhm.
Do you believe leaving millions of dollars to your children or your child would help or hurt them?
It would help them. And our culture is we're not educated enough in the area of money.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that we still have a long ways to go when it
We
comes to
need to
money.
be able to talk about money like how we talk about the weather, how we talk
Mhm.
about shoes, how we talk about our favorite
Yeah.
Netflix show.
Yeah.
We need to be able to talk about money just like that.
Yeah.
Do you think that?
Absolutely. Generational curses are real.
Yeah.
And until you have someone in your family that chooses to go the opposite way of what we've been taught and the bad habits that we have in our family, like I had a bad money habit too, until I was like, wait a minute now.
Okay.
This ain't working. This ain't work
Right.
for my family. This ain't about to work for me this way.
Yes.
So let me change some things around. But yeah, I just started to learn about life insurance policies and how to, do wealth building.
IULs.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yes.
but I just learned that just a few years ago in my 30s when I should have been learning this in my 20s, or my mom should have known this.
Tiffany,
Right.
I am so listen, sidebar. I told you I'm a Jill of all trades. I am a broker, 15 different states, licensed in 15 states. So I do financial services. I started at State Farm in 2015, and the agent that I worked with, you have those people that pour into you in plants,
Mhm.
plant seeds.
Mhm.
So she wanted me to learn about IULs and life insurance because we had to sell a certain amount of life insurance policies. When I found out about IULs, I was screaming from the rooftops, trying to tell people about it. And people in our community, they don't want to hear about life insurance. Let me tell you, I have families that'll contact me because I still write business. I'm never going to let that go. I
Right.
love it. I educate
Yes.
people about this.
Yes.
But some people will contact me on February 22nd, and I'm hounding them. After they contacted me for a quote, I'm hounding them. Hey, you still interested? Do you have any questions? Let's get on a Zoom call.
Mhm.
Anything you don't understand, I want to explain to you.
Mhm.
So, how do we get people in our community to understand that life insurance is important? Sitting down with that person once a year is
Mhm.
important because things change.
Mhm.
What do you think the disconnect is when it comes to
Mhm.
these type of financial literacy conversations?
I think for one, people don't feel like they have enough to be able to put something else aside, right?
That's
And
very
I
true.
think that once we get out of this poverty mindset,
Yeah.
and really start to, make some significant improvements with our own income,
Yeah.
I think that's when people will really start to take, financial literacy a little serious. I
Mhm.
think when you're struggling to just make ends meet, like you're like,
Yeah.
I can't afford to put that much money
That is
aside,
so
'cause
true.
then they're gonna wanna go back in that pot and
And
pull it
pull it
out for a
out.
rainy day, right? And it's
Yes.
like, once you decide that you're gonna be committed to this, you gotta leave it alone, or you're gonna lose
Yes.
it all,
Yeah.
literally. So, I just think that people are scared to sow into policies like that because they don't feel like they have enough money.
Yeah.
And so in order to break that type of mindset, we just have to learn how to make more money,
Yeah.
honestly, or figure
Yeah.
out what to do with what you have. Now, the policies are still, I feel like anybody can afford life insurance,
Yeah.
honestly.
Especially a term policy.
Yeah, anyone can. It's
Yeah.
just that fear mentality that we have, that we don't have enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
I might need a policy, but I also need that extra $50 in my pocket too, right? But
That's
it's like
very true.
it doesn't cost much, and it really makes a big impact, especially after you're gone. We
Yes.
have to think about our children and our children's children.
Absolutely.
We really do.
Yes.
It's not just about us. We live literally to build and leave a legacy. That's what we're
Behind.
here for.
Yes.
Literally, we're not just here
Mhm.
just to live for ourselves and going about our day.
Yeah.
What legacy are we leaving behind? Like, what are we building?
Absolutely.
How are we making our family more comfortable? Like, what imprint are we leaving in the earth? And so that's important to me.
Yes. Yes.
But everyone doesn't think like that,
They
unfortunately.
don't. So what made you decide to start thinking about, okay, I need to put some things in place? Oh, when somebody started talking to you about this concept, what made a light bulb go off like, I need to do this?
Ooh, I was sitting in like a classroom type atmosphere, and this guy said, "You could be your own bank." And I was like, oh, now you talking. You know what I mean? He was like, you can be your own bank. And I'm like, well, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And then talking about different life insurance policies and, just wealth building and how it doesn't cost a whole lot of money to do this, and
Right.
over the years, you'll look back and you can actually pull a loan out,
Mhm.
for yourself.
Yeah.
You can pull equity
Yeah.
out of these policies. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, we
Yes.
don't know that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That really made me start to think about money totally different.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't I know this earlier though? Like
Yeah.
this is something we probably should have started when we were 25 years old, pouring
Mhm.
into these policies. But,
So can you honestly say someone never came to you in your 20s or before you found out about it and talked to you about it?
never. Now, I will say
Okay.
when I was in high school,
Okay.
I was in JROTC.
I was too.
I love talking about
Drill
JROTC.
team.
Yes. Oh my God. That was
Yes.
like, that really changed my life though. That was good for me.
Me too.
But but I learned life skills there. Like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
taught us stuff about money, and that was the only time I learned about that. Like,
Yeah.
okay, if you start now while you're 16 and you put aside $100 a month, you'll have X amount of money when you're
By the time you're
40, 50.
35, 40.
Yeah, I
Yep.
should have listened though.
Me
Because
too.
now I would have been sitting on a big stack, right? I should have listened,
Right.
but I didn't think it was important enough because it didn't, my family never talked about these things, Like who else was gonna, I didn't have coaches back then. I didn't have a financial advisor.
And people don't know that the future is expensive. You don't
Right.
know that.
Ooh.
Let me tell
It's
you
expensive being
something.
an adult.
It is. It really
Adulthood
is.
is expensive, okay?
So I think it's really dope that generational wealth is being transcended through you through life insurance. Are there any other avenues that you would speak to outside of that? And you never answered the question. Do you
Oh,
think leaving behind millions of dollars to your children would help or hurt them?
oh. I think it would help them, Like
Yeah.
I see my son and he's like, "Mom, I want to be an athlete and a business person like you." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Perfect,"
Mhm.
because I would like that for you. Like you
Yes.
can't really rely on being an athlete, right? Like you make
Yeah.
great money, but okay, what you
Mhm.
gonna do when you injure yourself? Like I want him
Exactly.
to be an entrepreneur. And
So
so
setting him up for that is
yes. And so it's
what
okay.
generational
It's
wealth
like
is
it's okay
about.
to give your children money. It's just how are they going to utilize it? Like you have to also give them the educational piece along with that money, right?
I love that.
So and I want my son to always know that he's taken care of even in my absence, right? It's like
Mhm.
this is for you. I started this business because I had to take care of you. So
Yeah.
this is literally my life is for my son. My life is for my
Absolutely.
children.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
absolutely leaving him behind whatever I created that should have because I wish somebody had did that for me,
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that would have made our struggle a little less of a struggle, right?
Yeah.
We don't
Challenging.
and Black people, we think that we have to go through a struggle in order like, like, we're gonna get to this mountaintop, and it's always we have this culture of struggle, like, you gotta
Struggle, lack,
hustle, hustle,
scarcity,
hustle.
hustle, hustle, hustle,
Yes.
bustle, bustle,
Yeah, and it
bustle.
makes us
Yeah.
aggressive, even as women,
Yeah.
and I had
It
to make
does.
sure that I didn't turn into no hustler either as an entrepreneur. Like, I don't want to feel like masculine, like I don't
Yeah.
want to feel like aggressive. I don't want to
You
feel
don't
like,
walk around with that alpha energy. You don't
yeah,
want to
I
be
don't want
like,
that.
yeah,
And you have to be very careful because I know a lot of women walk around with that tough aggression, and
I'm
it's like,
soft girl.
sis,
I'm a soft girl. I'm a
yeah,
soft
I got to
girl.
stay there,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if I had a little bit of cushion, from my parents or anyone
Yeah.
else leaving me something, this
You
would have
wouldn't
been a
feel
whole
as
lot easier.
ambitious. You wouldn't feel like you would need to be so ambitious and
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Because then
feeling
I
like
could
you
just
gotta,
use this up here, even
yeah,
though I did. But
yeah.
it's like I really had to work my tail off too,
Wow.
because money didn't just come. I had to work for that
You had
money,
to work for
right? So yeah, I feel like that would be. We just need to talk about that more. Families, Black families, we need to talk about money more. It
it.
shouldn't
Yeah.
be like a fear thing to talk
Or
about money.
taboo or
Yes.
when the life insurance person comes, send the kids in the room.
Right, right, right,
Yeah,
right.
they need to
Yeah,
sit at
we
the
should get
table.
nervous when we bring up the money conversation. It should be
Yeah,
like, this is important. Like, we
yeah.
all need to sit around the coffee table and talk about this.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
So let's have some fun, Tiffany. This has been fun. So we're gonna ask certain questions, and you're gonna tell us what you think based on your personal perspective. So, debit or credit, and why?
Credit all
Tell us
day.
why.
Well, I like points. I like to use other
Free
people's money.
rewards.
Every time I feel like I'm using somebody else's money, I feel good about it. I'm gonna swipe that
Okay.
card. I'm gonna
You're gonna
swipe
swipe
that
that
card.
card.
Absolutely. I used to think opposite. I used to
Yeah.
think debit, 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 debit,
Hmm.
because you know I don't know, I just felt like, you're supposed to use your money. I was scared of credit because it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, what?" But again, it's a mindset. It's about how you utilize credit, right? So you
Yeah.
don't wanna, like, kill your credit cards, but you definitely want to use them, for their benefits.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm a credit card girl.
Love
I like
that. And
swiping
I
other
love
people's money.
your ideology behind why you're a credit card girl.
Yeah.
I'm a credit card girl too, because I love the points.
Yes.
Okay, you could only choose one. These are the options: happily married, 820 credit score, or 500,000 in cash every 5 years.
Child, oh, those good. Run them back one more time.
Listen, okay, happily married, 820 credit score, or 500,000 in cash every 5 years.
Y'all might be mad at me when I answer this question because I'm gonna say happily married. And you know why? Because I feel like I'm gonna marry a man that is gonna make sure I'm good across the
Absolutely.
board. Like
Yes.
and I feel so confident about that. So I'm gonna
Yes.
already have some good credit,
Mhm.
you know, and
Mhm.
my husband's gonna provide that how much ever I need, like he
Absolutely.
got it in the bank. If I ain't got it in the bank, we both got it in the bank.
Yep.
I don't want to ever have them conversations, by the way. 50, we don't talk about that. We
Yeah.
don't talk about that.
We're not talking about
Yeah.
that.
So
That's
absolutely
tired
happily
and that's
married.
old, and we ain't
Yeah.
talking about it.
And more women need to want that should be our goal. Like I want to get out of the seat of like wearing the boss cap.
Independent
Yeah,
woman.
no,
I'm not. Nope.
I don't care.
Mm-mm.
Marry me, please.
Yes, I'm not her. That leads us to our last question. It's funny that you said happily married because everybody's talking about this Netflix show, Love is Blind. Do you believe
Mm.
Love is Blind? Do you know the
Ooh.
basis of the show?
Is that the one where they like get set up with the mate and then they have to meet at the owl? Is that the
Well,
right one?
they don't meet at the owl. They build an emotional connection over 5 days in these rooms where they don't see
Oh,
each
that
other.
one.
So they
See,
build an
I don't even.
emotional connection.
I think.
So what do
Oh,
you think? Do you think Love is Blind
I definitely
or
think love is blind,
okay?
but it's only once you fall in love. Now, I don't date strangers, so I don't know what this show is about all the way.
Mhm.
But I definitely feel like when you fall in love with someone, like those red flags definitely start turning into six flags.
So love
We ever
can
like
be blind.
it can be, but but we have to be careful too
Yeah.
because I feel like you really have to vet a person when you're really getting to know them. Like you really have to know what you're looking for in a spouse and a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
And I think once you get to that place where you really know who you're dating and know
Yeah.
who you're about to marry, once you get in that committed, beautiful relationship, love should be blind.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like it should be
Absolutely.
blind because
That's a
I want a very unconditional type of love. I want a very sacrificial love. And
yes.
so if I'm constantly looking for, like errors and issues with my man, obviously it's going to fall apart. So,
Yeah.
anyways, love is blind.
Love is
Yeah.
blind.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So is there anything you want to tell the audience when it comes to you and this conversation and financial literacy?
I just feel like just go for what you want in life. Use the principles, use your faith, believe in yourself. Listen, life is short. Get the education that you need and just go for it. I love my black ladies. I want us all to win. I truly, truly want us all to win. And read this book because I feel like that book is
It's super
that's
dope.
transformational. Um so yeah, this was fun.
Thank you
I had
so
a really good
much.
time.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
being here.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys. That was PPP, Think and Grow Rich with Tiffany Davis. Y'all check her out online. Go ahead and drop your handles, your websites.
You can find me at Brand Tiffany on Instagram, all the social media handles. My business is Nutrithick, also known as Girl Subs, and you can find us on Instagram at Nutrithick or Nutrithick.com. And it has been a pleasure.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
See y'all next week.